So, hello and good morning to everyone. Welcome to Fiken Classes. My name is Alok Sharma, and how are you guys? So, I hope all of you are happy, all of you are good and safe at home. So, please be home and please follow the rules. And along with that, keep on studying because this time you're completely free, and I think this is the best time that you can learn easily. All the online platforms are available and you can learn as much as you want. And but be safe and stay at home. So now in the previous lecture what we have studied is we have studied about the two different utilization of homogeneity principle of dimension, right? Now in this particular lecture we are going to take the final topic of this lecture or this unit, and that final topic is dimensional analysis. Now in this particular lecture we are going to talk about how dimensional analysis is used to find out the relationship between physical quantities. So if you have not seen the two different utilizations that I have discussed before, please hit the I button there and you can watch it. Okay, so now let's get started. So in this particular lecture, as we always do, we will be starting from the previous year's questions that I gave you in the previous lecture. We'll be solving those numericals, those questions, and then we will move on to the dimensional analysis. There we will take two different questions. We will try to solve it, and that will be the end of the chapter. At the end, as always, I'll give you some problems, and that's it. So let's get started. That I gave you as an homework. So the question number 1 says, find the dimension of A and B. So congratulations to those who have given the correct answer. I have seen the comments and I'm really happy to see that. So you guys are really working and you are giving the answers, and that is why I'm happy today. Okay, so we have to find out the dimension of A and B. Now fine. So what is the principle of homogeneity? The dimension of each and every term in an equation must be same. Dimension of right hand side and the left hand side, that also must be same. So here the equation is force is equals to AT plus BT square. What is the dimension for force? Force means MLT minus 2. Always keep in mind MLT minus 2. That means the other two terms, that is AT and BT square, must also have the same dimension, that is MLT minus 2. That is what? MLT minus 2. Fine. Now what is T here? T is the time. For time we already know what is the dimension, right? So from here what we can write, the dimension of A we want to calculate, and the dimension of T, that is time, is capital T, right? And that will be equals to MLT minus 2. Now if I want to calculate the dimension of A, I need to shift the position of T from left hand side to right hand side, and when this is going to the right hand side, the power will become negative, and the final answer will be MLT minus 3. So how many of you have got the correct answer? Raise your hand. I cannot see you, but still. Okay, fine. Now coming to this one, again B, the dimensional formula we want to know. For T square it will be T square, capital T square, that will be equals to MLT minus 2, and hence the dimension of B will become MLT to the power of minus 4. Clear? So I think this question is very simple and everybody must have solved this. So we will move on to the next question. The dimension of mechanical equivalent of heat is. So many of you have given the correct answer and I am really happy to see that. Okay, so what is mechanical equivalent of heat? The question arises. So those who know it, you can directly answer that it will not have any kind of dimension. The dimension is 0, M0, L0 and T0. But if you don't know what is mechanical equivalent, you cannot answer. Actually, the mechanical equivalent of heat is the work done. Mechanical equivalent of heat is the work done that is possible from any kind of heat. So let's suppose I'll just give you one example. Think of an engine. The engine I am taking in the form of a cylinder. Why I am taking in the form of cylinder is because have you seen this cylinder of your motorbike? Cylinder of your motorbike? So your motorbike is having this kind of cylinder. There will be two openings. So one will be for intake, one will be for exit of the gas. Okay, so from one side, this mixture of petrol and air will enter this chamber. So when this is entering, what will happen? At the entry point, this piston will come down, and when this piston will come down, there will be one spark plug. Have you heard this spark plug? And this spark plug will ignite. So when this spark plug will ignite, the petrol and air mixture which is inside the cylinder is going to get burned. So when it is burning, it will a huge amount of pressure, temperature, and high amount of energy will be developed inside the cylinder, and that will be responsible for a force onto the cylinder, because of which this piston will move in the upward direction. And this process keeps on going. Once this piston is coming down, what will happen? Petrol will enter, and then spark plug will produce some spark, and then there will be burning, and then again a huge amount of energy will be produced, and then simultaneously the force will be acted onto the piston will move in the upward direction. Fine. So because of this continuous motion of piston up and down that will be created. So when this piston is moving up and down, actually what is happening, the heat energy of petrol is a chemical, right? When chemical is burned, heat is produced. Now this heat energy is used to produce some kind of work on the piston. Clear? A heat energy in the petrol that is there in the petrol is being used to convert it into work as the motion in piston. So when this piston is moving in upward and downward direction, work is being done. Why I am saying work is being done? Because for work we know that the formula is force multiplied with distance. So when this gas is burned, a high energy is being produced, and that energy is being force, it is applying some kind of force onto the piston. When force is applied onto the piston and piston is moving with a distance of d, a work is produced. It means heat energy is being converted into work. Clear? So heat can be converted into work. This thing you should know. Heat can be converted into work. Now, during the conversion of heat into work, these two things are proportional, but they are not equal, because complete conversion of heat into work is not possible, and this, to remove this proportionality sign, we introduce a constant J, and this J constant is nothing but mechanical equivalent of heat. This is mechanical equivalent of heat. Clear? So heat is having the unit of joules, work is also having the unit of joules. So from this equation, we can directly say that the mechanical equivalent of heat, that is capital J, is unitless or dimensionless. If it is dimensionless, the answer will be M0, L0 and T0. So I guess you have understood this thing. So this thing, just don't worry about this piston cylinder combination. Here this thing is called as cylinder, and this top one is called as piston. So don't worry about piston cylinder combination. This is just to know. Till now, right now, you just need to know a little bit about this thing. That is why I am telling this thing. Otherwise, these things are going to come in thermodynamics. When we will be studying about thermodynamics, the piston cylinder will come number of times. We will be taking the example of piston cylinder to understand many thermodynamical processes. Understand? So now let us start dimensional analysis. So to obtain the relationship between the given physical quantities, that was the third utilization of principle of homogeneity of dimension. So here we are taking one example, and this example is, see, we want to find out here, let us read the question first. Obtain an expression for time period t of a simple pendulum. The time period t depends on mass, length, acceleration due to gravity, and the constant given is 2 pi. Now, to know this thing, to move on with this derivation, first of all, we should know what is a simple pendulum. So here the diagram, this diagram shows simple pendulum. Here, See, this is the point of suspension. Means from where this string is going to be attached. And so this one is the string, and one side it is pin jointed. Pin connection is there. That means there will be rotation will be available. Rotation. Pin connection means like this. Like this. Think of. Rotation is available, but up and down motion will not be available. This particular point is not going to be detached from O. You can see the diagram O. The string is not going to be detached from O, but there will be possibility of rotation, or there is a possibility of this kind of rotation. Understand? So pendulum can move, can swing. Understand? But this particular point is not going to be detached. That is, point O will never detach, but it will allow rotation. That is pin connection. Right. Now, here what happens, if you leave it, now this is called string and this one is called bob. Okay. Now, if you leave the pendulum, then it will be at the mean position, that is point B. Point B is also called as mean position. Now, if you bring it to point A and release, what will happen? It will move towards B, and then reach point C, and then again come back to B, then A, and this kind of motion will continue. Right. Now, when the swinging motion is continued, what happens? There is a fixed time period of oscillation. So this motion is called as oscillation. This motion is called as oscillation. So these things we will be discussing in far more detail when we will be studying SHM, simple harmonic motion. So for now, you just remember that while the swinging motion of pendulum, the time period required for one complete oscillation, that means if it is starting from A, then B, C, then back to B and back to A. This particular one complete oscillation, the time required is called as time period of the oscillation. Clear? So here that T is denoting the time period of oscillation. That means for one complete oscillation. Okay. Now this time period may depend on mass of the bob. If this is the bob, then mass of the bob we are talking about. Then second is length of the string. This is the length of the string L. And third one is the acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity. If the time period depends on these three things, we have to find out the relationship between all these physical quantities, and we are going to use the dimensional analysis. Okay. So what actually we have to find out, how T is depending on G, L, M. So we can start with T is proportional to M to the power A, L to the power B, and G to the power C. So using this equation, we are going to solve this problem. So for this, I'm just going to the next slide, just completely blank, so that I can get the area for solving. Now let us start solving. So T is equals to M to the power of A, L to the power of B, and G to the power of C. So we don't know what is the value of A, B, and C, and that is what we want to find out. How time period is related with M, how time period is related with L, and how it is related with acceleration due to gravity. We don't know about A, B, and C. To find out what is the value of A, B, and C, we are going to use dimensional analysis. That means for each of the physical quantity given, we are going to put the dimension of it. Understand? Now start. For time, what is the dimension? Capital T. That means on left hand side the dimension is capital T. Fine. Or what we can write is, the better way of writing is M to the power 0, L to the power 0, and T. That is the dimension on left hand side. Now for the right hand side, M, mass, M represents mass. That means capital M to the power of A. Then for L represents length. So capital L to the power of B. That is second. Then G is the acceleration due to gravity. For acceleration due to gravity, the dimension is LT minus 2. Do you remember this? Oh, I'm sorry. LT minus 2. It's not working here. 2 minus 2. Fine. So this will be LT to the power of minus 2 and to the power of C. Clear? Now what we have to do? Now we have to just equate the power of m, power of L and power of T. By that we are going to get certain number of equations, and that equation, by solving those equations, we will get A, B and C. This is the simple technique. Clear? Now see, we are going to equate the power of m on left hand side and right hand side. Now tell me, on left hand side, what is the power of m? Power of m is 0 on left hand side. And what is the power of m on the right hand side? So on right hand side we have only one m, then this is L, L and T. So m to the power of a, that means a. So the value of a is going to be 0. Fine. Now just equate the power of L. On equating power of L, on left hand side it is 0. On right hand side, now see here, this is L to the power of B and this is L to the power of C. Clear? So L to the power of B multiplied with L to the power of C. What will be the answer? L to the power of B plus C. Clear? So what we can write? On the left hand side it is 0. On the right hand side it is B plus C. So this is going to be our second equation. This is the first equation. This is the second equation. Now third, equate power of T. So on the left hand side the power of T is 1. Right hand side the power of T is minus 2C. That means from this equation we can write C is equals to minus 1 by 2. C is equals to minus 1 by 2. Clear? So if C is equals to minus 1 by 2, now use equation number 3 and 2 and find out the value of B. So B plus C is equals to 0. B and C value is minus 1 by 2 is equals to 0 and B will be equals to 1 by 2. Clear? Clear? So from this we got A is equals to 0, B is equals to 1 by 2 and C is equals to minus 1 by 2, and hence we can write our equation as T, sorry, this sign will be a proportionality sign, not the equal sign. Proportionality sign it will be here also. Here it is equal sign. Why? Because we are going to equate the dimension, and the constant that we are taking, that is a dimensionless constant. Fine. So T will be proportional to m to the power a, that is m to the power of 0, L to the power of b, b means 1 by 2, and g to the power of minus 1 by 2. That means m can be eliminated, and t is proportional to L by g, and we can keep it as under the root. Now the constant given, proportionality constant given in the question is, we already know, and what is that constant? 2 pi. So we will just write that directly. The constant we will use it here. Again it is not working. Okay, so t will be equals to 2 pi under the root of L by g. Clear? So this equation we have already seen. We have solved some previous year questions based on this equation, and now we know how to find out this relation. Clear? So this relation is calculated for a simple pendulum in which the length of the string is given, mass of the bob is given, acceleration due to gravity is given, and in this equation you can see that there is no mass term. That means the time period of oscillation for a simple pendulum is independent of mass. It is only depending on length and acceleration due to gravity, where acceleration due to gravity is taken as constant on the surface of Earth. And we can say that the time period is only depending on length. If you increase the length, the time period is going to increase. Just see the relation here, T and L, they are directly proportional, right? So now we have this second example for dimensional analysis, and this is also a very good example and very important derivation. So here the derivation is for finding the force Fd, finding the force Fd. Fd represents drag force. It represents drag force. So the amount of drag force that is going to be applied on this ball, that we have to find out, and the parameter on which this Fd depends on is given as r. R is the radius of this ball, and nu. mu is viscosity, mu is the viscosity, and v is the velocity with which this ball is falling under the action of gravity. Velocity with which it is falling under the action of gravity. So here what happens, just look at here, if this ball, any kind of ball, steel ball, just take a steel ball or any other ball, if you just release it, what happens? Because of the gravitation, it will start falling downwards, right? Now, what happens? It has been observed that after achieving a certain velocity, the increase in velocity stops. Understand? If you release the ball, initially, what is the velocity at the top? Velocity at the top is 0. Now, slowly the velocity will increase, but that velocity increment will stop at a point, and that thing is happening because of the drag force. Because of the drag force. Now, what is drag force? Drag force is a force which is coming into picture because of the fluid. If you drop a ball inside a water, after attaining a certain velocity, the velocity of the ball will become constant. It will not improve. Why? Because of the drag force that is acting in the upward direction because of the liquid molecule. So these lines are representing liquid. This is representing liquid, and this liquid is applying some kind of force that is called as drag force onto the ball. And now that drag force depends on the radius of the ball, depends on viscosity. Now what is viscosity? Again, we'll have to discuss. And then it also depends on the velocity. Clear? So finally we have to find out that F is proportional to R, mu and V, but how it is related with all these things. So A, B, C value we have to find out. For R is the length, so the dimension will be m. V is the velocity, dimension will be L T minus 1. But what about viscosity? So let us discuss about that. See, viscosity coefficient of viscosity nu. For this, we need to know one formula. I'll just give you this formula. This F is equals to drag force. F is equals to mu, or nu here we are representing it with mu into area into du by dy. Now this equation you will find in the chapter fluid mechanics. We will read this in fluid mechanics. So for now you just remember this equation and how we are going to calculate the dimension of eta, that is viscosity. You just try to remember it. Okay, so I am just moving to the second slide. Okay. Okay, so F is equals to eta and area du by dy. So F, what is the dimension for F? MLT minus 2. Dimension of eta we want to find out. Dimension of area will be L square. Dimension of velocity, tell me, LT minus 1. What is the dimension of this? Y represent distance. Y represent distance, and hence the dimension will be L. So L and L got cancelled. L square T minus 1. So eta dimension is going to be, the dimension of eta is going to be MLT minus 2 divided by L square T minus 1. And hence the final dimension is ML minus 1 T minus 1. So this thing we need to remember. We just write it down because I am going to rub it off to find out the another derivation. Stop the video and write it down. Okay. Now moving further, what is happening with my computer? Okay. Now what we have to do? We have to find out the relation, that is the drag force is equals to, actually it is proportional to. Now what are the things that we have to take care? Eta, R and V. So for eta, we will start with R to the power A, eta to the power of B, and V to the power of C. So for force, the dimension is MLT minus 2, and this dimension we are going to equate with the right hand side dimension. and that is equals to C. R is L. R is the radius, so the dimension will be L to the power of A. Eta dimension we have calculated ML minus 1 T minus 1, ML minus 1 T minus 1 to the power of B, and velocity is LT minus 1 to the power of C. Now what we have to do? We have to equate the power of M, L and T on both the sides. So M power on the left hand side is 1, that will be equals to the power on right hand side. Power on right hand side is M to the power of B. So B is equals to 1, that is our equation number 1. Now what about L? The power of L on the left hand side is 1, and that will be equal to L to the power A, then L to the power minus 1 to the power B, that will be minus B, then L to the power of C. So the total power becomes L to the power of A minus B plus C, correct? So A minus B plus C, that is our second equation. Now third equation for T. For T, the left hand side power is minus 2, and on the right hand side it is minus B minus C, and hence we can write B plus C is equals to 2. B plus C is equals to 2, but from equation number 1, B is equals to 1, and hence C is equals to 2 minus 1, that is equals to 1. So C is also 1, B is also 1, and what about A, that we have to calculate? So from this equation, see, A minus B value is 1, then plus C value is again 1, that is equals to 1, and hence A is also equals to 1. So all the values of A, B and C is equals to 1, and hence we can write, what we can write, tell me? Now what will be the relation, tell me? FD is proportional to R to the power of 1, theta to the power of 1, and velocity to the power of 1. That means FD is equals to some constant K, R, theta, V. Understand? So this is going to be our equation. So you understood how to find out, how to use the dimension for finding out the relationship between different physical quantities. That is main important thing to understand here, because all other the science behind these forces, what are the drag forces, what is the upward drag force, what is the downward FG force, all these things you will be studying in fluid mechanics. Don't worry about that. Just for now, we need to understand how to apply dimensional analysis to find out the relationship between physical quantities. Understand? Okay. So here's the last question of this lecture from AIPMG 2001, and the question is completely based on the dimensions. Clear? So you need to know the physical quantity, you need to know the dimension. That is a very simple thing. So for Joule, can you tell me what is the dimension? Joule is the unit of work or energy, and that is equals to force into distance. For force we know. What is the dimension for force? ML T minus 2 multiplied with dimension of D. D means distance is L. So ML square T minus 2. That will be for Joule. ML square T minus 2. Now Hertz. Hertz, have you heard of this unit? Hertz is per second. Hertz is per second. Per second is called as Hertz. So the dimension will be 1 upon T, that is T to the power of minus 1. For Hertz it will be T to the power of minus 1. Now Pascal is the unit of, tell me, Pascal is the unit of pressure. So pressure is defined as force acting per unit area. Force acting per unit area. The dimension of force is very fast. Dimension of force is MLT minus 2. MLT minus 2 divided by area. Area, what will be the dimension? Length into length, L square. And hence this dimension will be ML minus 1 T to the power of minus 2. Fine. So this will be ML minus 1 T to the power of minus 1. So this one. Now for spring constant, only one is left. So if you want to know what is spring constant is defined as K. It is denoted with K, and the definition is the force divided by length. Force per unit length is called as spring constant. So this thing comes for springs. We study these things for springs and for any elastic body. For any elastic body, spring constant is used. This we will be studying in elasticity and plasticity, or second time we will study in SHM. Now tell me, for force the dimension is mlt minus 2, right, divided by length. So L and L got cancelled, mt minus 2. Clear? So this question was very easy. Now I'm going to give you the homework. Okay, so here is the question. R1 and R2 is given with the error sign and they are connected in parallel. So for parallel we have already done one particular, the derivation part we have done, the delta RE, delta R equivalent divided by R equivalent square, that will be equals to delta R1. Okay, I'll write it here. That formula you have to use and find the answer. Okay, so delta R equivalent divided by R equivalent square, that is equals to delta R1 divided by R1 square plus delta R2 divided by R2 square. So you have to use this formula and find out the answer. Delta RE you have to calculate. Delta RE. Delta R1, delta R2, R1 and R2 is given. R equivalent you will have to calculate directly. R equivalent, how you can calculate? R equivalent is equals to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. From this equation you have to calculate R equivalent. Delta R1 is 0.2, delta R2 is 0.1, R1 is 2 and R2 is 1. So all these 5 data we know, you have to calculate delta R equivalent. Fine. Now the last question of this particular chapter. Okay, so the last question is here. So find the value of P, Q and R. Again, this is the question for dimensional analysis. Okay, so E, C, E, G, H and C, they have the usual meaning. So E here is representing energy. Energy means the dimension of work. G here represents universal gravitational constant. For this we have already found the value of dimension. Okay, the dimensional thing. Okay, then H is here is Planck's constant. Planck's constant. Okay, C is velocity. C is velocity. So for velocity, energy, and then universal gravitational constant, for these things we know. For Planck's constant I need to tell you. So Planck's constant H into frequency gives energy. That this equation is for light, and energy is defined as Planck's constant multiplied with frequency. So this nu is frequency. Frequency is measured in hertz. Frequency is measured in hertz. So energy divided by frequency will be Planck's constant. So energy dimension we know ml square t minus 2 divided by frequency. Frequency dimension is t to the power of minus 1. So this will be ml square t minus 2 divided by t to the power minus 1. So that will be ml square t minus 3. That will be the dimension for H. Now keeping all these dimensions, you have to find out P, Q and R value. Just comment your answer in the comment box and I will check it. I am not going to make any further video for these solutions because we have already done many things before, and in the next lecture onwards I will be starting a new chapter, and that chapter I am just thinking of starting with the mathematics part, because if I start kinematics you need to know the basic mathematics that is going to be used in physics, and in that differentiation and integration is very, very important. So before you know differentiation and integration, I cannot start with kinematics. So I am thinking of starting basic mathematics that is used in physics. So I'll be starting basic mathematics that is going to be used in physics. So a small lecture will be there, not just one lecture, there will be number of lectures will be coming, but the chapter is going to be small. We will limit it so that we can use it in our further lectures. Fine. And after that we will start with kinematics, that is the pure mechanics we are going to start after that. Okay, so next will be mathematics, that is going to be used in physics. So thanks for watching. So if till now, if you have not subscribed the channel, if you are continuously watching to the channel and even then you are not subscribed, if you have not hit the bell icon, just go and do it, so that whenever I am uploading any kind of video, any new video, then you must know it, notification should come to you, right? And plus, so please share these things with your friends, so that they also get benefit. Okay, and I'm wishing you all the best. Please study hard, stay at home, stay safe. That's it. Thank you.